Ryan with Rotometals, and we're going to go over how to apply a zinc sheet to a table or a countertop application today. And we're going to start with taking our sheet. We're going to use an 027 8-foot sheet to cover this little table. It's more like a desk. Just try to give you a good example of how to apply the zinc sheet to the table and then patina it after it. Just going to remove the cardboard tube. And I'm going to rough cut out the sheet. And I'm going to actually glue down the sheet to the table before we do any bending or forming. And I'm going to be using one of our watermark sheets that we have on our website that we are currently discounting right now. It's basically a white powder that forms when the sheets get moisture on them. That will be, I'll show you how that will come off and be buffed off after you install the whole sheet down on the table. That'll be like a finishing step. Go ahead and take the sheet and put it up on our table. And most sheets come with a PVC coating that will peel off. If it's, typically you'll use the PVCs to face up that you can peel off once you're all done. And the side that doesn't, you can go face down is the easiest way to apply that. Okay, I'm just going to rough cut out the sheet and cut off. This is probably a 6-foot table, and it's an 8-foot sheet. And okay, I'm overlapping the sheet. It's probably overlapping 3 or 4 inches on each side, and I'll do that again for the edges. That way, I have room to bend the sheet down on the sides. I'm just going to cut off about 2.5 feet here. Typically you want to use gloves because the edges become very sharp. Alright, so now that I've just trimmed off the sheet a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and use contact cement to glue the sheet down. And for the best results, you want to make sure you follow all of the directions on the contact cement label about cleaning and prepping both the sheet and the table. So I'm going to go ahead and apply contact cement to the back of the zinc sheet that I'm going to be gluing down and the tabletop. Okay. So I'm first going to apply the contact cement to the table. I'm going to get as much uniform as possible. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep rolling this out. You want to get a fairly thick layer of contact cement. You could also use construction adhesive if you want, but it doesn't spread out as easily as this. I'm going right over this laminate desk, which is definitely possible. If you're going over like a plywood substrate, you're going to need to probably do a couple coats because this will absorb into the plywood. So you might need to do it 2 or 3 times to build up a little layer. And I'm going to go ahead and do that as well to the back side of the sheet. Contact cement takes about 30 to 40 minutes to set up. You need it to set up a little bit so the sheet will actually stick down to the table. And I'm just using a round rolling guy here. It's actually a chunk of metal that will help push down the sheet to the table and get some of the air bubbles out in pockets. This weighs probably 50 pounds. But you could use a lot of different using bags of weight that I have. That will help weigh down the corners. Okay, so now I've got probably a few 100 pounds of weight pushing down here, especially around the edges, which is important so that tomorrow when you bend it around the sides, you get a cleaner bend. Now that we've got the sheet glued down to our desk right now, table, I'm going to go ahead and trim off a little bit more of the sheet to match up enough to go down and back under a little bit on both the front and the back, and the sides are just going to be going down. And I'm also going to be cutting in at a 45-degree angle at the corners to get a clean corner bend. And I'm going to be using a automatic shear to cut the sheet, which is a little bit easier and it gives you a straighter line. You can also use little shear snips. It's a little bit harder to work with, but you can do either or. Start bending the edges down. You can do this by hand, you can do it with a rubber mallet. I see a little hand clamp here that helps bend down the sheet and gives a fairly nice edge if you don't have a full-size brake press. And this is just another option to get a cleaner bend edge. I'm going to go ahead and just bend down the sheet around the edges.
Here comes you.
Okay, so now that we've got the sheet glued down and bent, we're going to go ahead and add, I got some roofing galvanized nails. As sort of, it does two things. It helps hold the sheet in, and it also gives it a decorative edge on the sheet. And so I'm just going to hammer those in every few inches, depending on what you like, how often you want to see them. Okay, so now I'm just going to solder up some of the corners. I'm going to use our flux that we sell. I'm going to put it on pretty generously. And this is just a 900-degree 40-watt soldering iron that I'm using. Alright, then I'll let that cool and I'll go back and grind it down smooth.